Police Chief Daniel Carter arrived at the station early the next morning to find his phone ringing non-stop. The video of Maya and Atlas had gone viral overnight. News stations were calling for interviews and social media was exploding with angry posts. Carter called officers Murphy and Brooks into his office immediately. He slammed a printout of the viral video on his desk. "What the hell were you two thinking?" Carter shouted. "Do you realize what you've done?" Murphy tried to defend himself. "Chief, the girl was acting suspicious and the dog was about to attack. We followed proper procedures." "Proper procedures?" Carter laughed bitterly. "There are 20 different videos online showing you tasing a service dog that wasn't even moving aggressively." Brooks shifted uncomfortably in her chair. She had watched the videos too and realized how bad they looked, but she wasn't about to admit fault now. Mayor Helen Ross called Carter within the hour. The city's phone lines were jammed with angry citizens demanding answers. The story had been picked up by national news outlets. "We need to control this situation immediately," Ross told Carter. "I don't care what it takes." Carter knew exactly what the mayor meant. They needed to make Maya look bad and justify the officers' actions. He called the police department's public relations specialist, Amanda Walsh. "I need you to craft a statement," Carter told Walsh. "The girl was resisting arrest and the dog was dangerous. We need to spin this our way." Walsh looked at the videos on her computer screen. She had worked in public relations for 15 years but had never been asked to lie so blatantly. "Chief, the evidence clearly shows otherwise. The girl was calm and the dog wasn't aggressive at all." Carter's voice turned cold. "You work for this department, not for some bleeding heart liberals. Write the statement or find another job." Meanwhile, Jake Morrison was preparing for the evening news at Channel 7. The veteran anchor had covered police misconduct stories before, but this one was particularly shocking. His producer wanted to run the story as the lead piece. Mayor Ross called the television station owner directly. She offered advertising deals and political favors if they would downplay the story, but Morrison refused to back down. "This is news," Morrison told his boss. "A blind teenager and her service dog were attacked for no reason. The public has a right to know." Carlos and Maria Rodriguez were overwhelmed by the attention their daughter's case was receiving. Their phone rang constantly with reporters wanting interviews. Maya was still recovering from her injuries and trauma. "We need a lawyer," Carlos told his wife. "This isn't going away quietly." Maria had already researched civil rights attorneys online. She found Amanda Hayes, who specialized in police misconduct cases. Hayes had a reputation for taking on powerful opponents and winning. Hayes watched the videos of Maya's attack and was immediately interested in the case. She had seen police brutality before, but rarely involving such a clear victim. Maya was a minor, disabled, and had done absolutely nothing wrong. "I'll take your case," Hayes told the Rodriguez family. What happened to Maya was completely illegal. The police department released their official statement that afternoon. It claimed Maya had been acting suspiciously in a high-crime area. The statement said Atlas had shown aggressive behavior toward the officers who were forced to defend themselves. The statement also claimed Maya had resisted arrest and refused to comply with lawful orders. It painted a picture of a dangerous situation that required immediate police action. But the videos told a completely different story. Social media users began posting side-by-side comparisons of the police statement and the actual footage. The lies were obvious to anyone who watched. Dr. Chen worked around the clock to save Atlas's life. The service dog had suffered severe internal injuries from the electrical current. His heart had irregular rhythms and his breathing was labored. "I've never seen a dog recover from this level of trauma," Dr. Chen told Maya's parents. "But Atlas is a fighter." Maya asked about her dog constantly. The hospital staff tried to keep her spirits up, but she could tell something was seriously wrong. She blamed herself for what happened to Atlas. "He was just protecting me," Maya cried to her mother. "It's my fault he got hurt." Maria held her daughter close. "None of this is your fault, Mija. Those officers made terrible choices." The story continued spreading across the internet. Celebrity activists began sharing the videos with their millions of followers. Professional athletes posted messages of support for Maya and condemnation of the police officers. Carter watched the situation spiraling out of control. More videos were being discovered and shared. Every angle showed the same thing: his officers attacking an innocent girl and her service dog. Ross called an emergency meeting with the city council. Half the members wanted to fire the officers immediately, while others wanted to support the police department. The city was becoming divided. "We need to weather this storm," Ross told the council. "If we give in to the mob, it sets a dangerous precedent." But Councilwoman Janet Peters disagreed. "Helen, the evidence is clear. These officers committed assault on a disabled minor. We can't defend the indefensible." The FBI field office in the city received dozens of calls demanding a federal investigation. Civil rights groups were organizing protests. The story was becoming a national symbol of police abuse. Agent Ryan Clark was assigned to review the case for potential federal charges. He watched the videos with disgust. As a law enforcement officer himself, he was embarrassed by Murphy and Brooks' actions. "This is textbook excessive force," Clark told his supervisor. The officers violated this girl's civil rights under color of law. International news outlets picked up the story. The video of Atlas being tased was shown on television screens around the world. America's treatment of disabled citizens was being questioned globally. Maya tried to return to school but couldn't concentrate. Every time she heard footsteps behind her, she panicked. Her teachers were understanding, but Maya felt like everyone was staring at her. "I just want things to go back to normal," Maya told her counselor. "I want Atlas to get better and for people to stop talking about me." But normal was no longer possible. The incident had changed Maya's life forever and sparked a national conversation about police accountability and disability rights that wouldn't be silenced. High above Earth's atmosphere, the Galactic Council monitoring station processed millions of data points from human social media networks. The artificial intelligence systems flagged unusual patterns in emotional responses, and viral content spread. Commander Zeth-9 of the Altarian Federation reviewed the weekly reports from the Human Observation Department. One particular incident had generated unprecedented global reaction among the human population. "Show me this Maya Rodriguez case," Zeth-9 requested from his subordinate, data analyst Cree-4. The holographic display showed the attack on Maya and Atlas from multiple camera angles. Zeth-9 had studied human behavior for decades, but this incident was particularly revealing. The young female shows no aggressive behavior, yet the enforcement officers attack her companion animal. Cree-4 observed. The global human response suggests this violates their social norms significantly. Zeth-9 nodded slowly. The Galactic Council had been evaluating humanity's readiness for first contact for several years. How a species treated its most vulnerable members was considered a crucial indicator of moral development. Back on Earth, FBI agent Ryan Clark arrived at the local police station to begin his federal investigation. Chief Carter met him at the front desk with obvious reluctance. "Agent Clark, I'm not sure federal involvement is necessary here," Carter said. "This is a local matter that we can handle internally." Clark showed his credentials and case file. "Chief Carter, this involves potential civil rights violations under federal law. The FBI has jurisdiction whether you cooperate or not." Carter led Clark to a conference room where officers Murphy and Brooks waited with their union representative and lawyer. Both officers looked nervous but maintained their story. The suspect was acting erratically and her animal displayed aggressive postures. Murphy repeated for the 100th time. "We feared for our safety and took appropriate action." Clark had reviewed all the video evidence before arriving. He played one of the clearest recordings on his laptop and watched the officers' faces as they saw themselves attacking Maya and Atlas. "Can you point out where Miss Rodriguez acted erratically in this video?" Clark asked. "She appears to be walking normally and speaking calmly." The officer's lawyer interrupted. "My clients don't have to justify their split-second decisions to protect public safety." Meanwhile, the local community continued rallying around Maya's family. Churches organized prayer services for Atlas's recovery. Local businesses displayed signs supporting Maya and condemning police brutality. Dr. Susan Chen worked 18-hour days caring for Atlas. The service dog's condition had stabilized, but he still required intensive care. The veterinary bills were mounting rapidly. "I don't care about the money," Carlos Rodriguez told Dr. Chen. "Just please save our daughter's dog." A local radio station started a fundraiser for Atlas's medical expenses. Within 2 days, they had raised over $50,000 from community donations. The outpouring of support amazed everyone involved. Maya visited Atlas at the veterinary clinic every day after school. She sat beside his cage and talked to him softly, hoping he could hear her voice. Dr. Chen encouraged these visits, believing they helped both Maya and Atlas heal. "He's going to be okay, Maya," Dr. Chen assured her. Dogs are remarkably resilient, especially one as well-trained as Atlas. The Galactic Council's behavioral analysis team studied thousands of human reactions to Maya's story. They were particularly interested in how different groups responded to injustice against vulnerable individuals. The humans demonstrate strong protective instincts toward their disabled members, reported Chief Analyst Vex 7. This suggests advanced moral reasoning capabilities. Commander Zeth 9 reviewed similar incidents throughout human history. While violence and cruelty existed in human society, the species consistently showed capacity for moral growth and justice. Attorney Amanda Hayes filed a comprehensive federal lawsuit against the city, the police department, and the individual officers. The complaint detailed extensive civil rights violations and sought both monetary damages and systematic reforms. This case represents everything wrong with modern policing, Hayes told reporters. A disabled child was attacked for simply existing in public space. The lawsuit demanded mandatory disability awareness training for all officers, updated use of force policies, and body cameras on every uniform. Hayes wanted to ensure no other family would suffer like the Rodriguez family. Maya struggled with nightmares and anxiety attacks. Simple sounds like car doors slamming or heavy footsteps made her panic. Her parents arranged counseling sessions with Dr. Kevin Park, who specialized in trauma therapy. "It's normal to feel scared after what happened," Dr. Park told Maya. "Your mind is trying to protect you from future threats." Maya appreciated Dr. Park's gentle approach but still felt broken inside. She had always been independent despite her blindness. Now she was afraid to leave her house without her parents. "Will I ever feel safe again?" Maya asked during one session. Dr. Park nodded reassuringly. "Healing takes time, but yes, you will feel safe again, especially when Atlas is back by your side." The story reached international human rights organizations. The United Nations Human Rights Council added Maya's case to their agenda for the next meeting. Countries around the world were questioning American treatment of disabled citizens. Agent Clark interviewed dozens of witnesses from Pine Street. Every neighbor told the same story. Maya had done nothing wrong and Atlas had shown no aggression. The officers' reports contradicted all eyewitness accounts. "This is one of the clearest cases of excessive force I've investigated," Clark told his supervisor. "The evidence is overwhelming." Mayor Ross felt pressure from all directions. City council members demanded answers, while police union leaders threatened strikes if officers were prosecuted. Protest organizers planned massive demonstrations for the weekend. The Galactic Council's Ethics Committee debated humanity's readiness for galactic contact. Maya's case was seen as a test of human moral evolution under pressure. "They show capacity for both cruelty and compassion," observed ethics chairman Tal 3. "The question is which tendency will ultimately prevail in their species." Development. Atlas slowly began eating solid food, again after a week of intensive care. His tail wagged weakly when he heard Maya's voice, giving everyone hope for his complete recovery. Maya felt the first spark of optimism she'd experienced since the attack. "He knows I'm here," she told Dr. Chen with tears of joy. The investigation was just beginning, but already the case was changing conversations about police accountability across the nation and beyond. Former Marine Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Williams read about Maya's case while having morning coffee at her home in Virginia. Williams had lost her left leg to an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan and now worked as a disabilities rights advocate. The video of Atlas being tased made Williams furious. She had seen enough injustice during her military career to recognize it immediately. Within an hour, she was on the phone with her contacts in Washington. "This is exactly the kind of case that needs national attention," Williams told Senator Greg Martinez, who chaired the Senate Judiciary Committee. A disabled American citizen was attacked by those sworn to protect her. Senator Martinez had been following the story closely. His own daughter had cerebral palsy and used a service dog. The thought of police attacking a disabled child horrified him. Williams flew to Maya's city that same day. She met with the Rodriguez family at their home, bringing years of experience fighting discrimination and abuse. "Maya, what happened to you was wrong on every level," Williams told the teenager. "But sometimes terrible things can lead to important changes." Maya liked Williams immediately. The former Marine spoke directly and honestly without treating Maya differently because of her blindness. "I want to help Atlas get better," Maya said. I don't care about being famous or making changes. I just want my dog back. Williams smiled at Maya's priorities. We'll help Atlas get better, and we'll make sure this never happens to another kid like you. Meanwhile, in space, the Galactic Council dispatched 3 covert observation teams to study human behavior more closely. The teams used advanced cloaking technology to blend in among the human population. Team leader Nix 2 took a position as a janitor at Maya's school. Team leader Quinn 8 worked as a coffee shop employee near the police station. Team leader Roth 5 got a job at the local newspaper to monitor media coverage. The aliens were particularly interested in how humans responded to injustice against their most vulnerable members. Maya's case provided a perfect opportunity to study human moral reasoning under pressure. Dr. Susan Chen emerged from Atlas's surgery room with cautiously optimistic news. The service dog had undergone his 3rd operation to repair internal damage from the electrical current. He's stronger than I expected, Dr. Chen told Maya's family. The surgery went well, but he'll need several more weeks of recovery. Maya insisted on staying at the clinic during Atlas's recovery. She slept in a chair beside his cage, talking to him softly and helping with his rehabilitation exercises. She's as therapeutic for him as any medicine I could give, Dr. Chen observed to her staff. Their bond is remarkable. Patricia Williams used her military connections to investigate the police department's history. She discovered a pattern of misconduct complaints that had been ignored or covered up by Chief Carter. This isn't an isolated incident, Williams told Attorney Hayes. There's been systematic abuse of power for years. Williams shared her findings with investigative journalist Sarah Kim at the Washington Post. Kim had been following police misconduct stories nationwide and immediately recognized the significance of Maya's Casey, the Galactic Council's observation. Teams reported fascinating insights about human behavior. Despite the violence of Maya's attack, the majority of humans showed compassion and demanded justice. Their capacity for moral outrage against injustice is highly developed. Nix 2 reported to Commander Zeth 9, even strangers are investing emotional energy in seeking justice for this young female. Team leader Quinn 8 observed police officers at a nearby coffee shop. Many expressed private doubts about Murphy and Brooks' actions. Even while publicly supporting their fellow officers, there appears to be internal conflict within their enforcement organizations, Quinn 8 noted. Some individuals recognize the moral wrongness of the attack, but feel constrained by group loyalty. Dr. Kevin Park continued working with Maya on her trauma recovery. The teenager was making progress but still struggled with anxiety and trust issues. I used to love walking around my neighborhood, Maya told Dr. Park. Now I'm scared of every car that drives by. Dr. Park encouraged Maya to process her feelings rather than suppress them. Fear is your mind's way of trying to protect you, but we need to help you distinguish between real threats and imagined ones. Maya's story inspired disabled students across the country. Special education teachers reported that students were discussing Maya's courage in standing up to authority figures who treated her fairly. Senator Martinez announced congressional hearings on police treatment of disabled Americans. Maya's case would be the centerpiece of the investigation. The American people deserve to know how their most vulnerable citizens are being treated by law enforcement, Martinez declared at a press conference. Chief Carter felt his position becoming increasingly unstable. 3 city council members had called for his resignation, and Mayor Ross was distancing herself from the police department. We followed proper procedures, Carter insisted to reporters. Monday morning quarterbacking from people who weren't there doesn't change the facts, but the facts were becoming clearer every day as more evidence emerged. Internal police communications showed officers had been coached on what to say about the incident. Patricia Williams organized a national rally to support Maya and advocate for police reform. Disability rights organizations from across the country pledged to attend. Maya represents every disabled American who has faced discrimination and abuse, Williams announced. We stand with her and her family. The Galactic Council's behavioral analysts were impressed by the human response to Maya's case. Multiple levels of society were mobilizing to seek justice and prevent future incidents. They demonstrate sophisticated moral reasoning and collective action capabilities, reported Chief Analyst Vex 7. These are positive indicators for their species development. Atlas took his first steps since the attack during Maya's visit to the clinic. The service dog was weak but determined to reach his human companion. Maya heard Atlas's collar jingling as he approached and started crying with joy. "You're walking. You're going to be okay." Dr. Chen watched the reunion with tears in her eyes. She had doubted whether Atlas would ever walk again, let alone return to service dog duties. "This is the best medicine possible," Dr. Chen told Maya's parents. "Their connection is healing both of them." FBI agent Clark completed his preliminary investigation and recommended federal charges against officers Murphy and Brooks. The evidence was overwhelming and the case was airtight. This prosecution will send a clear message that civil rights violations have consequences, Clark told his supervisor. The investigation was revealing layers of corruption and misconduct that went far beyond Maya's case. A federal grand jury was convened to examine the entire police department. Maya slowly began to trust in the possibility of justice. With Atlas recovering and powerful allies supporting her cause, she started to believe that something good might come from her terrible experience. Officer Tom Wright had worked with Kane Murphy for 3 years and knew his partner had anger management problems. Wright had seen Murphy use excessive force before, but never against someone so obviously innocent as Maya Rodriguez. The guilt was eating away at Wright's conscience. He couldn't sleep at night, thinking about the blind girl and her injured service dog. Finally, he made a decision that would change everything. Wright contacted FBI agent Clark through a secure phone line. "I have information about the Rodriguez case that you need to hear." Clark met Wright at a coffee shop across town. The nervous officer carried a manila folder filled with internal police communications and incident reports. Murphy and Brooks were ordered to make the girl look bad, Wright revealed. Chief Carter told them to stick to their story no matter what evidence came out. Clark examined the documents Wright provided. Email chains showed Carter coordinating with Mayor Ross to discredit Maya and protect the officers involved. "This is conspiracy to violate civil rights," Clark told Wright. "Are you willing to testify to a grand jury?" Wright nodded grimly. "I became a cop to protect people, not hurt innocent kids." The leaked documents revealed the depth of corruption in the police department. Carter had systematically covered up misconduct complaints for years, protecting officers who should have been fired. Investigative journalist Sarah Kim published the leaked emails on the Washington Post website. The public reaction was immediate and furious. Protesters surrounded City Hall demanding Carter's immediate resignation. "The fix was in from the beginning," Kim wrote. City officials conspired to destroy a disabled teenager's reputation rather than hold their officers accountable. Maya was preparing for school when her mother showed her the news article. Maria Rodriguez read the leaked emails aloud, her voice shaking with anger. "They called you a troublemaker," Maria said. "They planned to make people think you were lying about what happened." Maya sat quietly absorbing this information. She had suspected the police were lying, but seeing it in writing was still shocking. "At least now everyone will know the truth," Maya said softly. The Galactic Council's observation teams reported unprecedented levels of human moral outrage. The leaked communications had crystallized public opinion against the police department. The humans demonstrate remarkable capacity for recognizing and responding to systemic corruption, noted team leader Nix 2. Their ability to organize collective action for justice is highly sophisticated. Commander Seth 9 reviewed the observations with growing interest. Humanity's response to Maya's case was exceeding all expectations for moral development and social cohesion. Dr. Susan Chen brought Atlas outside for his first walk since the attack. The service dog moved slowly but steadily, his determination to recover matching his young owner's courage. Maya met them in the clinic's parking lot, guided by her father. Atlas immediately went to Maya's side, pressing against her legs in his familiar protective position. "He remembers everything," Maya said with wonder. "He still wants to take care of me." Dr. Chen smiled as she watched their reunion. "Service dogs are remarkable animals, but Atlas is special even among them." The federal grand jury convened to hear evidence in Maya's case. Prosecutor Janet Miller presented video footage, witness testimony, and the leaked police communications. "Ladies and gentlemen, this case represents a fundamental violation of civil rights," Miller told the grand jurors. A disabled child was attacked for the crime of walking while blind. Patricia Williams organized a massive rally on the steps of the federal courthouse. Thousands of disability rights advocates, police reform activists, and ordinary citizens gathered to support Maya. Maya Rodriguez represents the best of humanity, Williams told the crowd. Her courage in facing injustice inspires us all to demand better from our institutions. Maya had never spoken to a large crowd before, but Williams convinced her that her voice was important. Standing with Atlas beside her on the courthouse steps, Maya addressed the gathering. "I didn't ask for any of this to happen," Maya said into the microphone. "I just wanted to walk home from school with my dog. But if my story can help prevent this from happening to someone else, then maybe something good can come from something bad." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers. Videos of Maya's speech went viral within hours, inspiring people around the world with her grace and wisdom. The Galactic Council's behavioral analysts were amazed by Maya's public address. Despite her trauma and youth, she demonstrated remarkable emotional intelligence and moral clarity. This young female exhibits leadership qualities that suggest high potential for her species, observed Chief Analyst Vec 7. Her ability to transform personal suffering into advocacy for others is exceptional. More victims of police misconduct came forward after seeing Maya's courage. Officer Murphy had a history of excessive force complaints that had been buried by Chief Carter. Officer Brooks had been involved in 3 questionable arrests over the past 2 years. Maya opened the floodgates, Attorney Hayes told reporters. People who were afraid to speak up before are now finding their voices. The pattern of abuse was becoming undeniable. The police department had systematically protected bad officers while ignoring their victims' complaints. Chief Carter announced his resignation under pressure from the mayor and city council. His farewell press conference was brief and defensive. "I served this city faithfully for 30 years, Carter said. "Recent events have made it impossible for me to continue effectively in this position." Carter's departure was celebrated by reform advocates, but Maya felt no satisfaction. She was focused on Atlas's continued recovery and her own healing process. "I don't want revenge," Maya told Dr. Park during therapy. "I just want justice and for Atlas to get completely better." Dr. Park was impressed by Maya's maturity and resilience. Despite her trauma, she was channeling her experience into positive advocacy rather than bitterness. The grand jury voted to indict both officers Murphy and Brooks on federal civil rights charges. The unanimous decision reflected the overwhelming evidence of their wrongdoing. Maya learned about the indictments while visiting Atlas at the veterinary clinic. The service dog was almost ready to come home after weeks of intensive care. "It's really going to be okay, isn't it?" Maya asked Dr. Chen. Dr. Chen nodded as she watched Maya and Atlas together. "Yes, Maya. I think everything is going to be better than okay." The leaked communications had destroyed any remaining credibility the police department's official story might have had. Public opinion was firmly behind Maya and her family. Federal prosecutors prepared for trial, while the Galactic Council prepared to make a momentous decision about humanity's future. Maya's case had provided crucial evidence about human moral capacity. Their response to injustice against the vulnerable demonstrates advanced ethical reasoning, Commander Zeth-9 reported to the High Council. "This species shows promise for galactic citizenship." Maya didn't know that her courage was being watched by beings from across the galaxy. She was focused on simpler things, like getting Atlas healthy enough to return to school with her and helping other kids who faced discrimination. The truth was finally emerging, and with it came hope for justice and meaningful change. Maya's courthouse speech reached viewers across 6 continents within 24 hours. The 16-year-old's words about finding good in something bad resonated with people facing their own struggles around the world. In London, disability rights activist Emma Thompson shared the video with her parliamentary contacts. The British government issued a formal statement condemning the treatment of disabled individuals by American law enforcement. Maya Rodriguez represents the dignity and courage that all disabled persons deserve, Thompson told the BBC. Her treatment by police is absolutely unacceptable. French President Marie Dubois referenced Maya's case during a United Nations speech about human rights. The European Union Parliament passed a resolution calling for improved protection of disabled individuals worldwide. Japanese Prime Minister Hiroshi Tanaka invited Maya and her family to visit Tokyo as honored guests. The invitation came with an offer to share Japan's advanced service dog training programs with American organizations. Maya was overwhelmed by the international attention her story was receiving. She had never traveled outside her home state, let alone to foreign countries. "I don't understand why people care so much," Maya told her parents. "I didn't do anything special." Carlos Rodriguez hugged his daughter tightly. "Mija, you showed the world what courage looks like. That's very special." The Galactic Council's observation teams documented humanity's global response to Maya's case. The species was demonstrating unprecedented unity around protecting vulnerable members. Their capacity for international cooperation on moral issues exceeds our projections, reported team leader Quinn 8. They're forming consensus across political and cultural boundaries, Commander Zeth 9 studied reports from monitoring stations around Earth. Similar incidents of injustice typically divided human populations, but Maya's case was creating almost universal sympathy and support. Atlas was finally healthy enough to return home after 3 weeks of intensive veterinary care. Dr. Susan Chen had worked miracles to save his life and restore his abilities as a service dog. "He's completely recovered," Dr. Chen told Maya's family. "His heart is strong and his training instincts are intact." Maya cried with joy as Atlas walked into their house and immediately resumed his protective position beside her. The loyal dog acted as if nothing had happened, focused only on caring for his human companion. "Welcome home, boy," Maya whispered, running her hands through his fur. "I missed you so much." Patricia Williams coordinated with international disability rights organizations to establish the Global Maya Rodriguez Foundation. The organization would advocate for disabled individuals and their service animals worldwide. Maya's story has shown us that injustice anywhere threatens justice everywhere, Williams announced at the foundation's launch event. Donations poured in from around the world. A billionaire tech executive from Silicon Valley contributed $1 million. A group of elementary school students in Kenya sent $23 they had raised selling handmade crafts. Maya was amazed that children on the other side of the world cared about her story. She insisted on personally thanking every donor, no matter how small their contribution. The trial of officers Murphy and Brooks began with international media coverage. Reporters from dozens of countries filled the courthouse to witness American justice in action. Maya testified on the second day of trial, with Atlas lying calmly beside the witness stand. Her testimony was broadcast live around the world. "I was just walking home from school like I did every day," Maya told the jury. "Atlas was doing his job, helping me navigate safely. We weren't bothering anyone or doing anything wrong." Defense lawyers tried to portray Maya as a threat, but their arguments fell flat against the video evidence and her obvious innocence. "Miss Rodriguez, did you resist arrest?" the defense attorney asked aggressively. Maya's voice remained steady. "Sir, I was never actually arrested for anything. I was just hurt for no reason." The Galactic Council's behavioral analysts noted Maya's composure under hostile questioning. Her emotional regulation and moral clarity impressed the alien observers. "She demonstrates exceptional maturity and wisdom despite her youth," noted Chief Analyst Vex 7. "Her species produces remarkable individuals even under adverse conditions." The jury deliberated for only 2 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all charges. Murphy and Brooks were convicted of federal civil rights violations and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Maya felt relief but not satisfaction when she heard the verdicts. Justice had been served, but she took no joy in seeing anyone go to prison. "I'm glad it's over," Maya told Attorney Hayes. "Now maybe we can focus on making things better instead of punishing people." The international community celebrated the convictions as a victory for human rights and justice. Maya received congratulatory messages from world leaders, celebrities, and millions of ordinary citizens. Pope Francis invited Maya to speak at the Vatican about dignity and justice for disabled individuals. The Dalai Lama sent a personal letter praising her wisdom and compassion. "Your response to suffering with grace and advocacy for others demonstrates the highest human qualities," the Dalai Lama wrote. Maya couldn't comprehend the global impact her local incident had created. She remained focused on returning to normal life and helping other kids who faced discrimination. The city implemented comprehensive police reforms, including mandatory disability awareness training, updated use of force policies, and body cameras for all officers. Maya's lawsuit settlement included provisions for ongoing monitoring of police conduct. Dr. Kevin Park noted remarkable progress in Maya's trauma recovery. Her confidence was returning and she was sleeping better at night. "You've transformed a terrible experience into something positive," Dr. Park told Maya. "That takes incredible strength." Maya started a blog to share her experiences and advocate for other disabled students. Her posts were translated into dozens of languages and read by millions of people worldwide. "Being different isn't being wrong," Maya wrote in her first post. "Everyone deserves to be treated with kindness and respect." The Galactic Council's observation teams prepared their final reports on humanity's response to Maya's case. The evidence strongly supported advancing to first contact protocols. This species demonstrates advanced moral reasoning, capacity for justice and protection of vulnerable members, Commander Zeth-9 concluded. They meet the criteria for galactic citizenship. Atlas resumed his service dog duties without missing a beat. He accompanied Maya to school, helped her navigate crowded spaces, and provided the independence she cherished. Maya's classmates treated her like a celebrity, but she preferred to focus on normal teenage activities. She joined the school debate team and started tutoring younger students in mathematics. "I want people to remember that I'm more than what happened to me," Maya told her guidance counselor. "I have dreams and goals just like everyone else." The global response to Maya's case had exceeded everyone's expectations. A local incident of police misconduct had become a worldwide movement for justice and human dignity. Maya didn't know that her courage and grace had caught the attention of civilizations beyond Earth. She was busy being a normal teenager who had experienced something extraordinary and chosen to use it for good. The world was watching, and beyond the world, the galaxy was taking notice of humanity's potential. Maya Rodriguez walked down Pine Street with her white cane tapping gently on the sidewalk. The 16-year-old girl had made this walk from school hundreds of times before. Her German Shepherd service dog Atlas walked beside her, his harness connected to her left hand. The afternoon sun warmed her face as she listened to the familiar sounds of her neighborhood. Atlas suddenly stopped and positioned himself protectively in front of Maya. His training told him something was wrong. Maya felt the tension in his body through the harness and slowed her pace. She heard car doors slam and heavy footsteps approaching. Officer Kane Murphy stepped out of his patrol car and saw a young woman with what looked like a weapon in her hand. His partner, Lisa Brooks, walked around from the passenger side. They had responded to a call about a suspicious person in the area. Murphy saw the large dog and immediately felt threatened. "Put down the weapon and control your dog," Murphy shouted. Maya froze in confusion. She had no weapon and Atlas was simply doing his job as her guide. "I'm blind, sir," Maya said calmly. "This is my white cane and Atlas is my service dog. We're just walking home from school." Murphy didn't believe her. The stick in her hand looked dangerous to him and the dog appeared aggressive. Brooks moved to Maya's left side while Murphy approached from the right. Atlas sensed the officer's aggressive energy and moved closer to Maya to protect her. "The dog is about to attack," Brooks said into her radio. "We need backup," Maya tried to explain again. "Please, officer, Atlas is trained. He won't hurt anyone. I have my identification in my backpack. I'm a student at Lincoln High School." But Murphy had already made up his mind. He pulled out his taser and aimed it at Atlas. The dog was simply standing between Maya and what he perceived as threats. His tail wasn't wagging and his ears were alert, but he showed no signs of aggression. Mrs. Johnson was watering her garden across the street when she heard the commotion. She grabbed her phone and started recording. Her neighbor, Mr. Garcia, did the same from his front porch. Neither could believe what they were seeing. "Don't move," Murphy commanded Maya. But she was already standing perfectly still, her hands visible and her cane hanging from her wrist. Atlas remained in position beside her. Maya's voice shook as she spoke. "Please don't hurt my dog. He's just protecting me because he senses you're upset. If you step back, he'll relax." Instead of listening, Murphy fired his taser. The electrical current hit Atlas in the chest and the loyal dog collapsed with a yelp of pain. Maya screamed and dropped to her knees beside her companion. "Atlas, Atlas, are you okay?" She ran her hands over his body, feeling for injuries. The dog was breathing but unconscious. Brooks grabbed Maya's arm roughly and pulled her away from Atlas. "You're under arrest for resisting arrest and having a dangerous animal." "I wasn't resisting anything," Maya cried. "And Atlas is a service dog." You can't arrest someone for being blind. But Brooks was already forcing Maya's hands behind her back. The girl's shoulder popped as Brooks twisted her arm at an unnatural angle. Maya screamed in pain. Mrs. Johnson called out from across the street. "That's Maya Rodriguez. She's blind. That dog helps her get around. You're hurting an innocent girl." Murphy turned toward Mrs. Johnson. "Mind your own business or you'll be arrested, too." But Mrs. Johnson kept recording and Mr. Garcia called 911 to request an ambulance. Other neighbors emerged from their houses. Everyone on Pine Street knew Maya and Atlas. The girl had lived there her whole life. Maya sat on the ground crying, her shoulder on fire with pain. Atlas was starting to wake up, but his breathing was labored. The electrical current had damaged his heart and lungs. "My dog needs a veterinarian," Maya pleaded. "Please help him." Murphy stood over the injured dog with no sympathy. "Should have thought of that before you sicked him on us." "He never attacked anyone," Maya sobbed. "He was just doing his job." More police cars arrived. Some of the officers recognized Maya immediately. Officer Tom Wright had given safety talks at her school. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Kane, what the hell happened here?" Wright asked. "This is Maya Rodriguez. She's blind. That's her service dog." Murphy stuck to his story. "She was acting suspicious and the dog was aggressive. We had to neutralize the threat." Wright looked around at all the neighbors filming with their phones. He knew this was going to be a problem. Maya was well known in the community as a good student and kind person. The ambulance finally arrived. The paramedics checked Maya's shoulder and confirmed it was dislocated. They were gentle with her, unlike the officers. A second ambulance came for Atlas, who was barely conscious. Dr. Susan Chen received the emergency call at her veterinary clinic. A service dog had been tased by police and needed immediate care. She couldn't believe what she was hearing, but prepared for the worst. Maya rode in the ambulance to the hospital, still in handcuffs despite her injury. She kept asking about Atlas, but nobody would tell her anything. The paramedic treating her was disgusted by what had happened, but couldn't speak up. At the hospital, Maya's parents, Carlos and Maria Rodriguez, rushed to the emergency room. They had been called by Mrs. Johnson, who witnessed everything. Carlos was angry and Maria was crying. "Where is our daughter?" Carlos demanded at the reception desk. The nurse looked uncomfortable. "She's being treated, but she's currently under arrest." "Under arrest for what?" Maria asked. "She's 16 years old and blind." The story was already spreading on social media. Mrs. Johnson had posted her video online and it was being shared rapidly. The title read, "Police tase blind girl's service dog for no reason." Within hours, the video had thousands of views and hundreds of angry comments. People couldn't believe that police officers would attack a blind teenager and her service dog. Atlas was fighting for his life at Dr. Chen's clinic. The electrical current had caused serious internal injuries. The loyal dog had never hurt anyone in his life, but had suffered terribly for simply protecting his human companion. Maya spent the night in the hospital with her arm in a sling. The charges against her were quietly dropped, but the damage was done. She was afraid and traumatized, wondering if she could ever feel safe walking in her own neighborhood again. Maya was studying for her constitutional law exam when the sky above her university campus began to glow with strange lights. Students poured out of dormitories and classrooms to stare at the massive ships descending through Earth's atmosphere. Atlas remained calm beside Maya as panicked voices filled the air around them. The service dog had been trained to stay focused on his handler, regardless of distractions, but even he seemed curious about the unusual sounds. "Maya, there are enormous spaceships landing all over the world," her roommate Sarah whispered. "They're beautiful but terrifying." Maya listened to the descriptions with growing wonder rather than fear. Something about this moment felt significant rather than threatening. President Walsh addressed the nation from the White House within an hour of the ship's arrival. Her voice was steady despite the historic magnitude of the situation. "My fellow Americans, we are not alone in the universe," President Walsh announced. "Representatives from the Galactic Council have come to Earth seeking peaceful contact with humanity, Commander." Zeth 9 materialized in a shimmering column of light outside the main administration building on Maya's campus. The tall, graceful being appeared humanoid, but with distinctly alien features and clothing. Students gathered at a respectful distance as more alien visitors appeared around the world. The beings made no threatening gestures and seemed to be waiting for something specific. "We seek Maya Rodriguez," Commander Zeth-9 announced in perfect English. "We come with greetings from the Galactic Council." Maya felt a chill of recognition when she heard her name echoing across the campus. Sarah guided her toward the alien visitor with Atlas walking protectively beside them. "I'm Maya Rodriguez," she said when they reached the commander. "Why are you looking for me?" Commander Zeth-9 studied the young woman and her loyal companion with obvious respect. "Maya Rodriguez, your courage and moral clarity have been observed by beings across the galaxy. You represent the best qualities of your species." Maya was confused but intrigued. "I don't understand. What does my story have to do with aliens?" The commander gestured toward his ship with one elegant hand. "The Galactic Council has been evaluating humanity's readiness to join the wider universe. Your response to injustice demonstrated that your species possesses the moral development necessary for galactic citizenship." "My response?" Maya asked. "I just tried to find something good in something bad." "Precisely," Commander Zeth-9 replied. "That simple philosophy reflects advanced wisdom that many civilizations never achieve." Maya's parents arrived on campus along with Attorney Hayes and Patricia Williams. The group that had supported Maya through her ordeal was reunited under the most extraordinary circumstances imaginable. "Maya, are you okay?" Carlos Rodriguez called out as he approached the alien visitor. Commander Zeth-9 turned to address Maya's family and supporters. "Maya Rodriguez is more than okay. She is about to become humanity's first ambassador to the Galactic Council." The alien commander explained that Maya's case had been monitored by galactic observers who were assessing human moral development. Her grace under pressure and commitment to justice had convinced the council that humanity was ready for first contact. Your daughter's courage in the face of injustice demonstrated qualities that many spacefaring civilizations struggled to develop, Commander Zeth-9 told Maya's parents. Maya felt overwhelmed by the revelation that aliens had been watching her story unfold. She had thought she was dealing with local problems, not galactic implications. "I was just trying to heal and help Atlas get better," Maya said. "I never thought about space aliens watching." Commander Zeth-9's expression conveyed something resembling a smile. "That authenticity is exactly why you were chosen. You acted from genuine moral conviction, not for recognition or reward." Atlas seemed completely comfortable with the alien visitor, even allowing Commander Zeth-9 to pet his head. The service dog's acceptance helped convince everyone that these beings meant no harm. "Your companion animal demonstrates remarkable intelligence and loyalty," the commander observed. "The bond between your species and domesticated animals is considered quite special in galactic terms." Maya was invited aboard the flagship vessel to meet other members of the Galactic Council. Atlas would accompany her as both service dog and honored guest. The interior of the alien ship was beautiful beyond description, with flowing architecture and soft lighting that seemed to respond to the visitor's emotions. Maya navigated easily with Atlas's guidance and her cane. "Your visual impairment is of no consequence here," explained Council Member Vec 7. "We have many forms of perception beyond optical sensing. Your other abilities are quite remarkable." Maya met representatives from dozens of alien civilizations, each offering unique perspectives on justice, morality, and social development. They were all fascinated by her story and humanity's response to it. "Your species demonstrated remarkable unity in supporting a vulnerable member," noted Council Member Tal 3. "This suggests strong potential for peaceful coexistence with other civilizations." The Galactic Council formally invited humanity to join their alliance of peaceful worlds. Earth would receive advanced technology and knowledge in exchange for contributing to galactic harmony and justice. Maya was asked to serve as humanity's first ambassador to help guide the integration process. She would work with world leaders to prepare Earth for its new role in galactic society. "I'm just a college student," Maya protested. "I don't know anything about diplomacy or aliens," Commander Zeth-9 disagreed gently. "You know about justice, courage, and turning suffering into positive change. These are the most important qualifications for galactic citizenship." Maya accepted the unprecedented responsibility with characteristic humility. She would finish her law degree while serving as humanity's voice in galactic affairs. The Atlas Foundation was expanded to include interspecies animal companion programs. Alien civilizations were eager to learn from humanity's unique relationship with service animals. Dr. Susan Chen was appointed as Earth's first xenobiology consultant, helping establish medical protocols for interaction between humans and alien species. Patricia Williams became director of the Global Human Rights Monitoring System, working with alien observers to identify and address injustice across Earth. Maya addressed the United Nations General Assembly again, this time alongside alien representatives. She spoke about humanity's potential to contribute positively to galactic civilization. "We have much to learn from our new galactic neighbors," Maya told the assembled delegates, "but we also have much to offer. Our capacity for justice, compassion, and moral growth makes us valuable members of this larger community." The girl who had been attacked for walking home from school with her service dog was now helping humanity navigate its first steps into galactic society. Her local story of injustice and recovery had become the foundation for species-wide transformation. Maya still lived in her hometown when not traveling for diplomatic duties. She valued the simple pleasures of walking with Atlas, spending time with family, and helping other students through her foundation. "None of this feels real sometimes," Maya told Dr. Park during one of their occasional check-in sessions. "I'm still just me." Dr. Park smiled at his former patient's continued humility. "That's exactly why you're perfect for this role. You haven't lost sight of what matters most." Atlas adapted to interstellar travel with typical service dog professionalism. Alien dignitaries were charmed by his calm demeanor and protective devotion to Maya. Maya's courage in facing injustice had not only changed her own life, but had helped qualify humanity for membership in galactic civilization. Her simple desire to find good in something bad had led to the greatest transformation in human history. As she stood with Atlas on the observation deck of the galactic flagship, Maya reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this moment. The blind girl and her faithful companion had become symbols of humanity's potential for justice, growth, and hope among the stars. The federal courthouse buzzed with activity as Judge Robert Harrison prepared to announce the civil settlement in Maya's lawsuit against the city. Attorney Amanda Hayes had negotiated for months to reach an agreement that included both financial compensation and systemic reforms. "The city will pay $12 million to the Rodriguez family," Judge Harrison announced. "More importantly, they will implement comprehensive police reforms to ensure this never happens again." Maya sat in the courtroom with Atlas beside her, feeling strange about the large sum of money. She had never cared about getting rich from her terrible experience. "What are we going to do with all that money?" Maya whispered to her mother. Maria Rodriguez squeezed her daughter's hand. "We'll use it to help other families like ours." The settlement required the police department to provide 40 hours of disability awareness training to every officer. Body cameras became mandatory for all patrol duties, and a civilian oversight board was established to review complaints. Chief Carter's replacement, Linda Morrison, was a reform-minded officer from another state. She had specifically requested the position to help rebuild community trust. "We're going to earn back the public's confidence through our actions, not our words," Morrison told reporters at her first press conference. President Jennifer Walsh invited Maya and her family to the White House for a ceremony honoring her courage. The Presidential Medal of Freedom would make Maya one of the youngest recipients in the award's history. Maya felt nervous about meeting the president, but was excited to bring Atlas to such an important place. The service dog would be the first to receive treats in the Oval Office. "You represent the best of American values," President Walsh told Maya during their private meeting. "Your grace under pressure has inspired millions of people." Maya thanked the president politely but was more interested in the White House tour. She asked detailed questions about the building's history and architecture that impressed her Secret Service guides. The medal ceremony was broadcast live around the world. Maya stood with Atlas in the Rose Garden as President Walsh placed the medal around her neck. Maya Rodriguez reminds us that true strength comes from standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult, President Walsh said to the assembled crowd. Maya's acceptance speech was brief and heartfelt. "This medal doesn't belong just to me. It belongs to everyone who supported my family when we needed help most." The Galactic Council's final assessment team arrived on Earth to observe humanity's response to Maya's recognition. Commander Zeth-9 wanted personal confirmation of the species' moral development. Their highest leaders are publicly celebrating the individual who exposed systemic injustice, reported team leader Nix 2. This suggests a healthy capacity for self-correction. Maya used her settlement money to establish the Atlas Foundation for Service Dog Protection. The organization would provide legal support for service dog handlers facing discrimination and fund medical care for working animals. Dr. Susan Chen joined the foundation's board of directors, bringing her veterinary expertise to help injured service animals. She had seen how expensive Atlas's care had been and wanted to help other families. No family should have to choose between their child's independence and financial survival. Dr. Chen explained at the foundation's launch. Maya also started a scholarship program for disabled students pursuing higher education. She remembered feeling uncertain about her own future and wanted to help others achieve their dreams. Being disabled doesn't limit what you can accomplish, Maya told scholarship recipients at their award ceremony. It just means you might need to find different ways to reach your goals. The United Nations invited Maya to address the General Assembly about disability rights and human dignity. At 17 years old, she would be one of the youngest speakers in the organization's history. Maya worked with speech coaches to prepare for addressing representatives from 193 countries. She wanted her message to be clear and powerful. Disability is part of human diversity, not a problem to be solved, Maya told the assembled delegates. When we protect our most vulnerable members, we strengthen our entire human family. The speech received a standing ovation that lasted several minutes. Delegates lined up afterward to meet Maya and Atlas, many sharing stories of disabled family members or constituents. Secretary General Ahmed Hassan personally thanked Maya for her advocacy. Your voice carries moral authority that transcends national boundaries. The Galactic Council completed their final evaluation of humanity's readiness for first contact. Maya's case had provided crucial evidence of the species' moral evolution. They demonstrate advanced ethical reasoning, capacity for justice, and protection of vulnerable members. Commander Zeth-9 reported to the High Council. Recommendation: proceed with first contact protocols. Maya returned to normal life as much as possible after her international recognition. She graduated from high school as valedictorian and planned to study law at university. I want to become a civil rights attorney like Ms. Hayes, Maya told her graduation audience. I want to help people who face discrimination and injustice. Atlas had become a celebrity in his own right, receiving fan mail from children around the world. Maya read every letter to him, and he seemed to enjoy the attention. Dr. Kevin Park marveled at Maya's complete psychological recovery from her trauma. She had transformed her suffering into purpose and advocacy. You've achieved something remarkable, Dr. Park told Maya during their final therapy session. You've found meaning in meaninglessness. Maya didn't feel remarkable, just grateful. She had learned that terrible things could lead to positive changes if people chose to work together. The police department's reforms were showing real results. Complaint filings dropped significantly as officers received better training on interacting with disabled citizens and their service animals. Officer Tom Wright, who had provided crucial evidence against Murphy and Brooks, was promoted to training supervisor. He used Maya's case as an example of what not to do during academy instruction. Every citizen deserves our protection and respect, Wright told new recruits. Maya Rodriguez was failed by officers who forgot their oath to serve and protect. Maya began college with Atlas by her side, ready to pursue her dream of becoming a civil rights lawyer. Her professors were impressed by her maturity and commitment to justice. She has wisdom beyond her years, noted constitutional law professor Helen Carter. Her personal experience with injustice has given her unique insight into legal remedies. The Atlas Foundation continued growing, helping hundreds of service dog teams facing discrimination or medical emergencies. Maya personally reviewed every application for assistance. This is why everything happened, Maya told her parents during a family dinner, so we could help other families avoid what we went through. Meanwhile, in space, the Galactic Council prepared to change humanity's future forever. Maya's courage and her species' response had convinced them that Earth was ready for contact with the wider universe. The girl who had been attacked for simply walking home from school had unknowingly helped humanity pass its most important test.